Welcome back. This is World Insight with me, Tian. China, the largest developing country, Germany, the largest economy in Europe, have pledged to safeguard world peace and stability in the meeting between top leaders celebrating the 50th anniversary of the bilateral relations. Amid regional conflicts, global warming, nuclear risks, and energy crisis, how would the two countries' cooperation make a difference? How could it benefit the world? Particularly on the security issue, I talked to Zhou Bo, Senior Colonel and a Senior Fellow of the Center for International Security and Strategy with Tsinghua University. Joining us, Zhou Bo, a Senior Fellow from the Center for International Security and Strategy with Tsinghua University. Senior Colonel Zhou, good to see you again.
Thank you for having me, Tian.
A lot of reactions in the media about the latest visit by German Chancellor to China. Now, you know, Senior Colonel Zhou, right after he's returning to Germany, the German Chancellor started a meeting with the important figures of his political party. And when he was trying to brief everybody about the result of the visit, he particularly emphasized on the importance of China and Germany coming to consensus about the so-called use of nuclear weapons. In this regard, Russia and Ukraine. So, Senior Colonel Zhou, I really wonder, what is your reaction?
I think of all the European countries, they're most worried about the potential of Russia using nuclear weapons. Yes, in the past, we have seen this kind of changes in rhetorics about whether Russia would use nuclear weapons or not. Nuclear weapons have not helped either Soviet Union or Russia or United States to win all those wars after they have nuclear weapons. So this is a vital issue. This is the most important issue. And it is most important for China to say that. Why? Because China's position on this conflict is actually a neutral position. That is, we do not take sides. But coming to nuclear weapons is totally different. This is about dignity to humanity. This is about existence of human beings on Earth.
Right.
So on this position, our position is crystal clear. It is clear cut.
So what would that mean? We have seen media reports, at least, suggesting the U.S. administration, the current White House, out of various reasons, was trying to reach out to the Ukrainian side, suggesting that there can be ways to reach some kinds of consensus. Well, also, you see Europeans, particularly this time Germany, try to be proactively bringing consensus to at least the issue of nuclear weapon in this part of the world. So, Senior Colonel Zhou, how far away from your perspective from having some kind of compromise?
Well, that is a billion-dollar question. I myself have actually tabled what I consider the three-step formula for resolution of this conflict. First of all, I believe NATO can afford to unilaterally announce NATO would never be the first to use nuclear weapons. Of course, NATO would never use nuclear weapons against Russia first, so it can afford this. And then the most vital part is what I've written in Financial Times. That is, NATO should pledge not to further expand in exchange of Russia's promise of not to use nuclear weapons first. So this kind of exchange is balanced. And then finally, if we talk about long-term European security, I believe we can learn a lot from the treaty in 1990 when the Soviet Union and NATO actually have a conventional force treaty that sets a limit on the qualitative advantage of the Soviet Union. So this time we can do the other way around.
Right.
That is to cap the qualitative advantage of NATO in exchange of Russia reducing nuclear stockpile that is larger than the US, France, and Britain's nuclear stockpile all combined.
Are you worried about nuclear proliferation inside the European continent?
Well, I do not worry about this now, but if nuclear weapons, even a tactical nuclear weapon is used, then definitely it would be a harbinger for global nuclear proliferation. Look at those countries in the Middle East. Some of them have been talking about it, and South Korea has been talking about it, and has been talking about it. So eventually, if one tactical nuclear weapon is used, then this Pandora box is open. And it would be most sad. Why? Because even during the Cold War, this box is not open.
Leading up mid-November, we're going to see one after another multilateral international events such as G20. Do you see what is being committed verbally by both the Chinese and the German leadership during the talk this time will have a direct impact on the geopolitical discussions then?
I'm sure it will have a positive impact. For example, if President Xi meet President Biden, they definitely would talk about the situation in Ukraine. And because of what President Xi told the Chancellor about our clear-cut position of not allowing nuclear weapons to be used in Europe, I'm most sure that President Xi will reiterate the Chinese policy. And this policy is welcomed by the whole world. And China, because China's friendship with Russia, so what China thinks or what China taught really matter to Russia. So I hope this will help Russia to think twice.
How do you see the latest discussion between China and German leadership likely to fall into this overall picture that China presents to the world?
Well, China's proposal is definitely a new proposal, which still is composed of many things that China talked about in the past. But I'm
You mean the Global Security Initiative?
Yes, but I'm fully aware that there is something new which actually came from this conflict in Ukraine. That is, security has to be effective, balanced, and sustainable. And this is exactly what President Xi told the German Scholz. And I believe that we will have to be very much mindful of the three keywords, because when he talking about the balance, we have to find out why this war has actually erupted, right? Without going to the root causes, to just blame the other side in a simplistic manner, it won't be able to solve this problem. So, but briefly speaking, NATO should stop expansion because I believe there is no need for NATO to expand anymore. You are already 32 countries. I know military alliance live on threat. I know military alliance is like a leech that sucks blood. And what is the blood? The blood is so-called threat. As a military organization, it will keep on finding so-called threats one after another to keep itself alive. But now the problem is your endless expansion has actually put yourself on the brink of a nuclear war. That will destroy yourself. That will destroy Europe. And that will probably destroy the whole world. And that is why it is dangerous. So NATO must stop expansion. And there is a possibility for it to stop expansion. Why? Because on the list of the countries that are willing to join NATO, only 3 countries now. That is Ukraine, Georgia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. For Georgia, which had a war with Russia, it is basically impossible. For Ukraine, which is having a war with Russia, this is hardly possible. And for Bosnia, does it really matter if such a small country one day finally join NATO? When you listen to the singer singing on the highest note, the song is coming to an end very soon. So basically NATO has reached the climax of its expansion. So in one word, NATO can still survive, but it won't thrive.
Very interesting input and insight. Senior Colonel Zhou, as always, thank you so much.